Michael, welcome in. Do you agree that Biden needs to go bigger? What does that even mean?
I think what Joe Biden needs to do is be consistent, be kind of the steady hand that I think the country needs right now. And I think we need to not get caught up in the moment. I think Democrats are very guilty right now of being scared of our own shadow, given what happened in 2016.
And the Times says that this is a chance not only to defeat President Trump, but to rout him and discredit what they believe is his dangerous style of racial demagoguery. But the president's base, they're steady. So do you think that the people's minds are already made up here on the president and on race?
Well, I'll say I think the president's base is going to stay with him no matter what. That's about 26 to 32% of the country. But when it comes to Vice President Biden, I think his support is something that we're really seeing shift. He's managed to unite not only the progressive side of the party, but the moderate side of the party, and really bring Democrats together in a way we haven't seen in a long time. So Joe Biden has an opportunity that most Democrats don't get, and that's to pass progressive legislation that the moderate side will also agree to.
I take a look at this Monmouth University poll. It shows that half of all voters say that they will vote for the Democratic candidate in their district. So does this offer an opportunity for Democrats to take control of the Senate?
It does. When you look at the Senate, there's a lot of seats that are extremely vulnerable, whether it be Susan Collins in Maine, Cory Gardner in Colorado. We've got the North Carolina seat and 2 Senate seats up in Georgia that are both looking extremely vulnerable. And given the wave that looks like is going to occur in November, and I say looks like because polls are a snapshot. What we're seeing in the polls are where the country is right now. But as we've seen with Corona, anything can happen. It looks like Democrats are going to absolutely have a wave election come 2020 and not just take back the White House, but take back the Senate as well.
Michael, 50% of voters also say that they are not at all likely to vote for Trump in November. But will these voters, including Democrats, all show up for Joe Biden?
I think they will. What we saw in 2016 was an election where people were voting against Hillary Clinton, not necessarily for Donald Trump. And we're seeing the exact opposite here. We're seeing people who may not exactly be excited about Joe Biden, but are very turned off by Donald Trump and are motivated to come to the polls because of a lot of the division that he set. And so heading into this 2020 election, I expect to see Trump try to fire up his base, but that also will fire up the Democratic base, which is going to be a wave for people who are in senatorial elections and congressional elections in the House.
Michael, Michigan Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin, she's sounding the alarm to Democrats, saying that they retook the House based on issues like health care, but in November, they may be forced to react to President Trump's partisan rhetoric, which could be a losing strategy in close districts. What are you hearing from Democrats in these areas?
Well, when I talk to Democrats, especially in places like Florida, which is the perennial bellwether state, what they really want to focus on are jobs. It's like James Carville always says, it's the economy, stupid. And so when you look at the president's response to coronavirus, which has cost millions of Americans jobs, we're seeing 1.5, 1.6 million unemployment requests every week. That's really at the essence of where people are upset. People know that Corona wasn't preventable, but they also know that the response could have been better. And so when people are now being cost jobs, people are now being laid off, that's where the economy really comes into play.
All right, you seem pretty confident this morning, Michael. How about this one? New data shows that Republican voter registration is surpassing Democrats' registration since the pandemic arrived. Are you concerned at all for this?
I'm not. I think Republican registration is going to go up as we get closer, given worries from Republicans about whether Trump can get reelected. The problem is going to be that Democrats and independents are turning out in a way that we haven't seen since 2008. When we looked at the primary elections in every state, Democrats are turning out in ways that we haven't seen since that Obama election. And so I think what we're really looking at is whether or not Republicans are going to turn out in anywhere near the same numbers. And so far, everything we've seen, they're not.
All right. Michael Starr Hopkins, appreciate you joining us this morning. Now back to the pandemic and the debate over sending children to school. The president yesterday again threatened to pull